Mentorskraal, we are at its day one of the 13th edition of the M&G PE PLETT, a 4-day stage race. First day is an 83-kilometer ride to Karedo, just outside Karedo. It's going to be a beautiful start to 4 days of great mountain biking. The journey along the garden route began with smiles and high fives as the 220 riders settled into the welcoming embrace of a tailwind. The turbines weren't the only ones smiling this morning. We have some big hitters in the racing field once again, and they wasted little time in showing their class and strength, charging along the remote tracks and trails heading for the Langkloof. A spectacular morning's weather with clear blue skies overhead. What more could they ask for? The Suriname Mountains provided a few challenges, both going up and down the rough tracks. But the views were superb. The biggest challenge of the day was creeping insidiously up on the riders. The mercury was rising rapidly into the late 30s. Every stream was soon a splash and dash, or a cooling swimming pool. They all thrived and survived to roll into the finish at Waterval with broad smiles. Why? Because the delights at the Assegai Race Village awaited ice-cold beverages and a wine tasting. Dawn over a small valley near Karedo. This was day 2 of the M&G Investments PE PLETT. It was a moving day as we said goodbye after a warm night's rest to Assegai Lodge and prepared to continue southwards on the journey. The energetic and helpful support crew were in top form as they loaded up all the paraphernalia that makes the race village such a vibey spot overnight. The racing e-bike started first, their incentive to try and stay ahead of the regular bikers who started around 5 minutes later. After the stress, strain and pain of a brutally hot stage 1, the longest of the 4 riders were grateful for the overcast skies as they headed towards the first climb of the day, the Saloko Ascent. In the solo leaders jersey, Alexander Lawrence looking to defend his lead over Isaac Strauss and Giles Farieb. Kevin Evans and Rogan Smart in the orange men's team's leaders jersey, Steph Walters and Robin de Groot wore the blue women's leaders jerseys. Years gone by, this was the king of the mountains. Rogan Smart dashed ahead to try and claim the $1 bonus, only this year it wasn't the com. Sorry, Rogues. All he did was put his partner in the hurt box. Soloman Lawrence joined the pair up front. The second place men, Bruce Campbell and Dan Howards, were all in on the chase. The first 10Ks had them exploring the beautiful Langkloof Mountains. Riders revelled in the cooler temperatures and eventually rain. The nicer Toyota bike shop pair were thrashing it along the district roads. And Bruce Campbell was being whipped along by partner Dan Howards at the Action Cycles Bomb Squad team. It was an exhilarating day, a reward for the perseverance and pain of day 1. 60 kilometers and 1,200 meters of climbing is a tough stage, but in these conditions, it was closing on an absolute delight. There surely could be few more scenic water points than this at Robberhoek. And the Ilios travel team pushed their boat out so far, they laid on a super cool stop after 38 Ks. Amazing what a well-bred burry roll can do for your dance moves. The M&G Boost Bar was assigned for the race leaders. The finish was in sight. 8 Ks from home, it was the perfect spot for an energizing and tasty shake. A timely boost for the last charge through the forests and into the finish at the Titsikama Lodge. Solo racer Alexander Lawrence joined Evans and Smart as they finished in a shade under 2.5 hours. Robin de Groot and Steph Walters took their second stage win in the women's race. Salty, stained jerseys and grim faces of a day go swapped for soaked kit and grins of satisfaction as the recovery began in time-honoured fashion. An ice-cold beer. The busiest guys in the village were the Kwano Academy crew in the bike wash, who with the help of Kranzel and Squirt restored muddy steeds to showroom condition for stage 3 of the M&G Investments PE PLETT. After a cool and damp night in the Titsikama forest, the mountains were shrouded in cloud ahead of stage 3 of the M&G Investments PE PLETT. An out and back route meant none of that pre-ride admin of bag packing and truck loading. Things were looking up, the sun was getting the better of the clouds. 2 days done and 2 to go, and the stage race gurus and multi-day novices alike had settled into the rhythm of the event. Behind the East Cape Motors 4, they rolled away, a short neutral zone through the lodge and then across the N2, and the racing was soon on. Rogan Smart leading all the top guns away for a ride that would highlight the stunning beauty of the Tsitsikamma section of the Garden Route. Solo boss Alex Lawrence put in a surge and took Evans and Smart along with him. Second women's team Shauna Esmeyer and former Olympic champion Sabine Spitz were in good shape once again. Becker and Tenner in the mix were expecting a tough day out. Riding his 12th PE PLETT, Kyle Bradford was already in the chill zone. But just on 800 metres of climbing, it was all about keeping a good pace and cadence for all 62 Ks. E-bike racers Paul Warren and Louis Van Aert got a feel of racing with the pros, as did a smiling Anthony Healy. The smooth and by now dry roads led them through the high pine forests that flanked this gorgeous coastline. And before long, they were on the very edge of the cliffs at the Tsitsikamma water stop. The racers, though, couldn't afford a break. Once more, Bruce Campbell was dragging partner Dan Howards for all he was worth as they chased the leaders. Ever smooth and graceful style of Robin de Groot as she led Steph Walters, they were in control of the women's race. So what is mountain biking without a mechanical or two? Third in the women's race, Jonita McKenzie guiding Leila Schwellnus around her first mountain bike stage race as they pedalled along the most dramatic of coastlines. Glorious views for days of the Indian Ocean to the left. The second stop, the Bucco water point, was another must-stop photo op. It truly was a day to savour the remote rural areas of this coastal gem. M&G Boost Bar and the finish must be around the corner. The category leaders duly retained their jerseys. It was happiness all round at the end of a stage that ticked all the right boxes. The riders checked out Leah's latest kit and enjoyed a sumptuous bride lunch. Along with those regular post-race companions, Messrs Castle Light and Dulhof Wines. Surely no better way to spend a Saturday afternoon after a great morning on the bike. Soon a long train formed at the front on the R102. Solo leader Alex Lawrence in green was the initial conductor, and he set a furious pace. One of the many highlights was the drop down and the climb up the historic Storms River Pass. A rare opportunity to enjoy a Thomas Baines masterpiece, which dates back to 1885. The gradients aren't too hectic. Chasing the Comet at the top, Rogan Smart had company in the form of Nicholas James, who was clearly feeling strong on the day. Behind him, the gaps are opening up as the climb took a toll on the day 3 legs. Helios Travel Waterpoint at 19 Ks would find more customers later in the morning as Racing Snakes Francois Lapsha and Craig Dixon charged through. The attention to detail from route planners Mike Glover and Jacques Steenkamp ensured that every stream was a dry crossing, thanks to the fantastic bridges. They'd reached the rugged coastline, and not for the first time during the race were treated to vistas that were simply breathtaking. The opportunity to ride these tracks along the very edge of the continent doesn't come along often. The pine forest provided a chance to tackle a few route-riddled single tracks. No problem for all the riders, even with one hand. Third in the mix, Gerard Hutting and partner Liz McCock were riding their 6th PE PLETT together. At 43 Ks, the Bucco Waterpoint was a hive of activity, plenty to eat and drink, and a squirt of lube for the drivetrain. Carla Olofsson riding with mum Cecilia. How couldn't they smile? Opened in 1983, the Blokkrans Bridge spans 451 metres along the N2 and is a dizzying 216 metres above the river of the same name. Little wonder it's home to the world's highest commercial bungee jump. No takers for a jump today, but the field got the chance to ride across the engineering masterpiece on the N2 before ducking back into the forest. The last M&G Boost Bar of the week, 4 days of mountain biking adventure, fun and camaraderie would soon come to an end at the base of the Grootrivier Pass and the finish at the Sandparks Nature's Valley campsite.
Overall, the experience has been incredible for a first time ever stage race. The scenery, riding with my dad has been a blessing. Yeah, it's been an incredible experience, and I'd do it again.
It had 3 seasons in one. We had the heat, we had the rain, we had the cold, we had the overcast, and every single day was something new, something different. I tell you, I'm going to be doing the next 10 of these. But you know, the little touches, the little presents, the little gifts, the food, the shows, Gerald, the MC, you know, interviewing people. It's completely different to what it normally is. And then, you know, all the guys that are like racing are just friendly and everyone's just having a vibe. So I tell you, it's an epic, awesome day.
Fun it was for sure. The racing was hot as well. Top 3 in the women's and top 3 in the men's races picked up their trophies. What a vibe. And next year it'll all happen again. In the 14th edition of the M&G Investments PE PLETT, it'll follow the same direction as this year. Early bird entries are already open, so look sharp to avoid missing out.